Thanks, Sophie. Hello, you're watching Wales Today. I'm Nick Savini. The headlines. Police say a 9-month-old baby boy died after an attack by a family dog in Monmouthshire. Tonight, they are still trying to establish the breed of the animal, which has been put down.
We understand that an incident like this can have an impact on our communities, but we urge people not to speculate and to consider the impact that speculation can have on the family and the friends of the family.
People have been leaving toys and flowers for the little boy, whose death has left this village in complete shock.
Also tonight, billions for funding public services. More details on the Welsh Government's budget, but can they get it through the Senedd? Where next for the South Wales Valleys? A new report says they took a big hit after Brexit, but there are opportunities.
Open our schools! Open our schools!
One school, two protests. We're outside the gates of Flint High School, where parents are unhappy with striking teachers and the impact on pupils.
That's the nature of industrial action, isn't it? That it does create disruption.
They don't realise the knock-on effect. They have to go to work, so you're looking for daycare, you need to know where your child is.
I love being part of it. And now that I'm this age, I feel more Welsh than ever, yes.
And the years may have passed, but not the love of his homeland. We hear from Sir Anthony Hopkins ahead of the publication of his autobiography. Good evening. A small community in Monmouthshire has been trying to come to terms with the death of a 9-month-old baby boy following an attack by a family dog. Gwent police officers were called to a house in Rogiet near Caldicot yesterday evening. The animal has since been put down. No arrests have been made, but the investigation is continuing. Our reporter Nellie Bird is in Rogiet for us tonight. Nellie.
Well, just 24 hours ago, this street was full of armed police and ambulances as this desperate situation unfolded in the house behind me. Officers have spent the whole day there, but tonight they have said that this was a family dog which attacked a pet. But exactly how or why that happened is still under investigation. A quiet street where life will never be the same again. Police were called to this semi-detached house in the village of Rogiet near Caldicot last night at around 6 o'clock to reports of a dog attack. But by the time they got here, a 9-month-old baby was already dead.
The family of the child had been supported by dedicated officers. The dog was sedated and removed from the property and taken to a vet where it was put down. We are in the very early stages of this investigation, and officers are continuing to carry out various lines of inquiry to understand the circumstances of this tragic incident. People who live here say it was chaos in this street yesterday evening, with multiple police cars and ambulances sent to deal with the incident. They say it's usually very quiet here, and so the news of the death of a baby has left them in total shock.
I think people are stunned, but we are blessed as a community with a sense of community spirit. That spirit will see us through. But our thoughts are, of course, with the family itself, who must be going through, well, what we cannot even imagine, the depth of the grief.
As the news spread overnight, people came to this local community cafe at the heart of the village to share their sadness.
It's just really, really tragic. I feel for the family, for what they're going through, for the whole street, really, because we are a close-knit community, and and it will just have knocked them for six. Our door's always open for those who need to come in and talk.
This afternoon, police gave an update on their investigation.
Inquiries are still ongoing to establish the breed of the dog. It is important that we're certain of the breed, and we will release information once it has been formally confirmed. No arrests have been made at this time. We understand that an incident like this can have an impact on our communities, but we urge people not to speculate and to consider the impact that speculation can have on the family and the friends of the family.
The local church has been open today for people to have a chance to come and reflect. A fundraising page also set up to help the baby's family pay for funeral costs. People trying to find their own way to make sense of the death of a young baby who never got to see their first birthday. And that fundraising page I mentioned is at around £5,000 already this evening, a clear way that the community is trying to come together and show support for this family whose world has inevitably been turned upside down by this attack on a baby who they surely had so many hopes and dreams for.
OK, Nellie, thank you very much indeed. Nellie Bird in Rogiet there. A man's been jailed for manslaughter after killing a 63-year-old man with one punch outside a pub in Swansea. Timmy Matthews from Town Hill died 2 days after the attack outside the Mill pub in Bryn Mill in July. Swansea Crown Court heard how 51-year-old Stephen Vonk punched Mr Matthews after he apparently swore at him. He was given a 3-year prison sentence. A primary school in Tetley was closed today due to threatening messages made online. Dyfed-Powys Police and Carmarthenshire County Council made the joint decision to close Davern CP School after receiving information that required safeguarding action. Officers have remained at the school while inquiries are carried out and are urging the public not to speculate on the circumstances. Now, it is the big question facing the Senedd in the final few months before next year's election. Can the Welsh Government get its final budget through? Labour ministers don't have the numbers to do it without the support of another party. Well, today they set out where they plan to invest £27 billion in funding. Day-to-day spending on most public services will increase by more than 2%, with the NHS, local government and housing the main winners. Well, our political editor, Gareth Lewis, is with me now. So, Gareth, what exactly are the plans?
Yeah, Nick, we're talking here about services that we all use every day. So the NHS, schools, hospitals, local councils, bin services, that kind of thing. And important to bear in mind that these plans are based around official forecasts for inflation next year. So the rate at which costs are going up of around 2%. It's 3.8% at the moment, inflation. So the Welsh Government admitting there will be challenges for public services. Now, also in these plans, £231 million of unallocated funding for day-to-day spending. Handy if you've got a deal to strike. And I just wonder if what we're about to hear is a bit of a challenge to parties who might want to strike a deal from the Finance Secretary, Mark Drakeford, about where that money should be spent, because clearly the NHS appears to be at the top of his list.
I hope that of the money we haven't allocated so far, where we need to have those discussions with other parties, that's a significant slice of that money will be invested in our core public services, and that will certainly include local government and the health service. That's further investment in the things that matter the most to people in Wales.
Now, Nick, on the NHS, already warnings from one expert from the Wales Governance Centre at Cardiff University. The increase in funding for the NHS is actually historically low. Even if the bulk of that unallocated funding ends up going to the NHS, the increase will still be lower than what's planned for England. And we've already heard, too, the Welsh Local Government Association, the umbrella body for local councils, warning that without a significant increase, they are looking at the potential for service cuts and job cuts, too.
So where are we in terms of them potentially striking a deal with someone?
Yeah, and this is where it gets less straightforward and therefore more interesting, Nick, because the government Labour needs to strike a deal. It's got 29 of the 60 seats after that defeat in last month's Caerphilly by-election. Now, talks have taken place between Jane Dodds, the sole Lib Dem, and the Welsh Government about a deal. Jane Dodds did a budget deal last year, largely based around increased funding for social care. We understand she's after more of the same. Welsh Conservatives would like land transaction tax paid when you move home scrapped. Mark Drakeford said he's not going to do that, but he might look at the thresholds. If there's no deal, huge ramifications, potential job cuts and cuts to public services. But Mark Drakeford saying today he is very confident he's going to get to a point where that budget can be passed.
OK, watch this space. OK, Gareth, thanks very much. A trial has been told the alleged stalking of Madeleine McCann's family by two women was cruel, unforgiving and showed no signs of stopping. The prosecution has told a jury at Leicester Crown Court that 61-year-old Karen Spragg from Cardiff and 24-year-old Julia Van Delt from Poland tormented the McCanns over a period of time. Both deny stalking, causing serious alarm or distress. Emily Williamson reports.
The trial here at Leicester Crown Court is now into its fifth week. Today, the prosecution has been summing up its evidence against the two defendants. Michael Duck KC told the jury that Julia Van Delt and Karen Spragg worked as a team to stalk the McCann family. Miss Van Delt for more than 2.5 years and Mrs Spragg for several months. In doing so, he said, they caused very serious alarm and distress to Kate and Jerry McCann, and in turn their children and friends. Addressing the jury, Mr Duck said these two operated together and had an ability and a willingness to manipulate. He went on to say Julia Van Delt is not Madeleine McCann, and the only people who are not prepared to accept that are the two sat in the dock. The prosecution has also told the trial that Karen Spragg, seen here arriving in court, was no sidekick and was a willing participant who helped arrange doorstep confrontation at the McCann's home in Rothley to ask for a DNA test. Michael Duck KC told the jury today that Julia Van Delt is of some considerable intelligence and capable of being incredibly manipulative. When he suggested that her supposed memories of life with the McCann family when she was younger were a manifestation, she got very emotional and left the dock in tears. Earlier today, Karen Spragg's barrister read a character reference from her best friend of 40 years, which said she's a genuine person and is sincere, reliable and most definitely honest. The judge, Mrs Justice Cutts KC, told the jury that anyone with opinions on the disappearance of Madeleine McCann should put them to one side and consider solely the evidence heard during this trial, which will continue tomorrow. Emily Williamson, BBC Wales Today at Leicester Crown Court.
A bereaved father from Ystrad Gynllais says he hopes a law change to force public officials to tell the truth means other families won't have to suffer. 72-year-old Will Powell's son, Robbie, died in 1990 after doctors failed to treat his Addison's disease. The NHS later admitted negligence, while the CPS apologised for their mishandling of the case. But allegations of a cover-up continue. The UK government is set to pay tribute to Will's 3.5-decade fight for justice as a so-called Hillsborough law is debated in Parliament.
This law will hopefully make public officials accountable when they're dishonest. And that difference means that there'll be proper inquiries into deaths like Robbie. They'll identify what went wrong, and hopefully they will genuinely learn from those mistakes for it not to be repeated.
An independent review into how a North Wales head teacher was able to sexually abuse girls for years will be made public tomorrow. Last year, Neil Foden was jailed for 17 years for the offences against 4 victims. The Child Practice Review will ask how Foden went unchallenged and what lessons can be learned. Brendan Williams has more.
A depraved, arrogant bully. Words the trial judge used to describe Neil Foden when he was jailed for 17 years after being convicted of sexually abusing 4 girls. He'd been the long-standing head teacher at Ysgol Friars in Bangor, Gwynedd, and for a time a strategic head at another school in the county. But in September 2023, he was arrested after one of his victims showed an adult a photo of themselves with Foden and screenshots of sexually explicit messages. Foden groomed and abused his victims between 2019 and 2023, assaulting them in locations that included his car and hotel rooms. A month-long trial last year heard how concerns were first raised to the local council, Cyngor Gwynedd, in 2019, but were dismissed out of hand and no investigation took place. The judge at Mold Crown Court suggested the lack of action may have emboldened Foden. And, following his conviction, a BBC Wales investigation uncovered claims the paedophile head teacher may have abused children for more than 40 years, with far more victims. In a police interview, Foden repeatedly refused to answer questions.
By doing so, how much harm you've more than likely caused all these children in some shape or form? No comment. Do you want to say anything about it? No comment.
But tomorrow it's hoped some questions will finally be answered. Crucially, how it was allowed to happen. The findings of a year-long child practice review are due to be made public. The independent review has been focused on the culture surrounding Foden and whether lessons can be learned. Those he abused wait to hear whether there were failings, whether opportunities were missed, and if so, by whom.
Brendan Williams reporting there. You're watching Wales Today, still to come before 7. We hear from Sir Anthony Hopkins on what it's like to be a Welsh national treasure ahead of the publication of his autobiography.
And October was the second dullest in Wales, with only 51 hours of sunshine, and there's plenty more cloud to come this week, with a warning of heavy rain in the south. I'll have the latest forecast.
A new report has laid bare the economic challenges facing the South Wales valleys. Among its findings is that the area lost its competitive edge in attracting investment after Brexit. But there is some good as well, including the unique opportunity to take advantage of the dualling of the Heads of the Valleys Road. Stephen Fairclough has more.
The terraced houses of the South Wales valleys were built to provide homes to the thousands of people working in the coal, steel and other industries that used to provide so much employment. But those days are gone. Those industries no longer exist. And ever since big industry left, there have been concerns about the economy and jobs in the South Wales valleys, concerns which still exist.
Clearly, the valleys need more jobs. Now, that's obvious. The valleys have always needed more jobs. They've needed more jobs for as long as I've been around, certainly. But it's much more important now that those jobs need to be better jobs than the jobs that are, traditionally, handed down almost to the valleys. And because of the infrastructure and because of the geography of the valleys, those jobs need to be closer to home.
The report from ICA Wales says the valleys took a big hit following Brexit as European funding stopped and wasn't replaced by equivalent investment. Both the report and other economists say the Welsh and UK governments need to take action.
They have the levers and the money to do this. As to how they're going to deal with this, because we can't afford really another lost generation in the South Wales valleys when at the moment there are so many opportunities to grow the economy there.
The Welsh Government says it is working to support a range of economic development investments and programmes, and it points to the transport links provided by the Heads of the Valleys Road, which it says has created 1,000 jobs. Merthyr Tydfil is just off the Heads of the Valleys Road, and these people still have concerns about the area's prosperity.
The issues is that people got to go and work away, really. So you can see all the shops all basically boarded up. I'm not saying it's everything straightforward, but I think there are opportunities if you're up for it,
I do find there's not enough going at the moment, and it's not flexible enough either. It's trying to find school hours for the, when you've got children and stuff.
The ICA says potential solutions to improve the prosperity of the valleys would be more support for manufacturing, investment in business sites and premises, more apprenticeship opportunities and improvements in public transport.
A school in Flintshire was at the centre of two protests today. Outside the gates of Flint High School, there was a group of teachers who were on strike over the way it's being managed. But on the other end of the road, there was a group of parents and carers staging their own demonstration about the disruption being caused to pupils. The school will remain closed tomorrow. Matthew Richards reports.
The message from parents and carers is clear. In the past 2 years, 9 days of teaching have been lost due to industrial action by members of the National Education Union. This is the latest walkout since September, with more planned in a dispute about the management style of the school leadership and how it deals with pupil behaviour. While parents understand staff grievances, they want to see a resolution.
It's the kids that are suffering. They are in a routine, and as much as they say, no, they don't want to go to school, but they do. They've got groups of friends there, they're missing them, they're missing the routine, the day-to-day, fun that they have. As for the parents, they don't realise the knock-on effect. They have to go to work, so you're looking for daycare, obviously not the older ones, but the younger ones, and, you just don't know where, you need to know where your child is, and they should be in school.
About 20 people attended a protest at the school gates this morning. A similar number of NEU members formed their own picket line. The union acknowledges that its action is causing problems for parents and pupils alike, but still wants key issues to be addressed.
That's the nature of industrial action, isn't it? That it does create disruption. It's not that we want disruption to last for as long as it has, but we feel that we haven't had any concessions, real concessions from the employer.
In a statement, the Chief Officer for Education at Flintshire said that progress had been made toward making some changes based on concerns raised by the NEU, but senior leaders at the school said that members had not allowed time for those changes to take effect. The union wants to discuss its concerns with the school's governing body, but the council says such a meeting is not appropriate under the school governance regulations and that governors need to ensure that all parties are treated fairly. While the countdown to crucial exams continues, so too does the deadlock.
Matthew Richards there tonight. Sport now, and Thomas is with us. Hello.
Hi Nick, it's a big week for Elfyn Evans, who's aiming to become the first Welsh driver to become World Rally Champion. He's top of the Drivers' Championship with 2 events left. Before the finale in Saudi Arabia at the end of this month, Elfyn's in Japan, a rally he's won twice before. The sport's big names draw big crowds here in Japan, and Elfyn Evans knows exactly what it takes to be victorious here. The Welshman has secured wins in the country twice. Another one in Toyota City this week would see him edge closer to the world title.
It's very easy to make even the smallest mistake. Normally goes very harshly punished in Japan. So it's a rally where we're going to need to be as accurate as possible.
Evans is at the top, 13 points ahead of teammate Kalle Rovanperä and 8-time world champion Sebastian Ogier, who are both tied on 234 points. The pair between them have won the championship in 4 of the past 5 years. A big reason then why Evans has missed out on the top spot in recent years. Whatever happens, Bex Williams from Merthyr Tydfil will be keeping a close eye on the Welshman. She's worked in the sport for a quarter of a century, now a commentator travelling the world. From Toyota City, she told me what we can expect this week.
Tarmac event, all tarmac, which is Elfyn's favourite surface, which is a good thing, and he's already won it twice. So I would say the ball is in his court. The country is so incredibly passionate about this sport. The fans dress up as characters or their favourite drivers. They wear hats which are shaped like cars. They bring presents for the drivers. They do their research here. They know everything about the drivers' statistics, what their favourite food is. They are fully into rallying here, and you feel it as soon as you head into Toyota City. It's quite an experience.
After Japan, it's Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, for the final event. In a sport as unpredictable as this, Evans says the race for the championship is still very open. Having finished runner-up on 4 occasions, you can understand why he's cautious while trying to clinch that elusive world title. Newport County are in the draw for the second round of the FA Cup. County made it through thanks to their first win at home in more than 7 months. It ended 2-2 with Gillingham. They went on to win 4-3 on penalties. The draw has just finished and Newport will face Boreham Wood away. Another draw for you tomorrow. Wales's women will find out which teams they'll face in the World Cup qualifying. The finals will be held in Brazil in 2027. Wales have never reached the finals before. That's tomorrow. See you then, Nick.
Thomas, thank you very much. Now, the 2-time Oscar winner, Sir Anthony Hopkins, says he feels more Welsh than ever. At the age of 87, Sir Anthony from Port Talbot, of course, has achieved huge success in Hollywood. He's been speaking to the BBC's culture and media editor, Katie Razzle, ahead of the publication of his autobiography.
You're born in Wales, you go back to Wales. It must be a source of pride, but also a pressure to be a Welsh national treasure. How do you see it?
Oh, it's wonderful. I love going back. I'll be going back there in a few weeks and spending time there doing a film in Wales as well. It's wonderful to be back. But at this age, I could be accused of selling out or something, whatever. But I came over here because I couldn't fit into the, the British theatre style of, I just felt out of it. I came over here 50 years ago for a breath of fresh air and some sunshine. I didn't want to be standing on stage holding a spear for the rest of my life in wrinkled tights or doing Shakespeare. I just wanted to have a bit of a life. And California opened it up for me. It gave me a wonderful life. But now I go back all the time to Europe. And to go back to Wales brings back all those memories. So I've never lost it. And people say, well, why did you go to America if that's the case? Well, I just did it because I wanted to. But I have relatives in Wales, and my cousins. And I love being part of it. And now that I'm this age, I feel more Welsh than ever, yes.
Looks well, doesn't he? And you can see much more in Anthony Hopkins, a career in character on iPlayer now and on BBC Two Wales later this week. From one national treasure to another, Derek is here with the weather tonight. How's it looking, Derek?
Thank you, Nick. I'll take that. I can tell you that it's grey, mild and damp in Port Talbot at the moment, and there's more rain in the forecast, some of it heavy with a risk of localised flooding, some brisk and gusty winds as well. Now, looking back to October, it was the second dullest on record in Wales with only 51 hours of sunshine, a little bit milder than normal, and we saw 142 millimetres of rain, a little less than the monthly average. Now, this afternoon was grey and wet in Llanpimsaint in Carmarthenshire, a bit drier and brighter in Wrexham, but showers as well. And Anne, our weather watcher, spotted this wonderful rainbow. Now, the strongest winds today have been in the northwest of the country, 63 miles per hour recorded at Dyffryn Mumbyr in Eryri. Now, this evening and tonight stays cloudy with further outbreaks of rain for much of the country. Some of this rain will be heavy, misty and murky on some coasts and hills. The strongest winds in the west and northwest, and staying mild with temperatures in double figures. The reason for the rain tomorrow is this weather front draped across the UK, and along this front, pulses of heavy rain moving their way northwards. So there is a Met Office yellow warning that comes into force tomorrow at midday, runs through until 6 a.m. on Wednesday. The heaviest rain in the south, 20 to 30 millimetres, could see double that on higher ground with a risk of localised flooding. So tomorrow then, mostly cloudy with further outbreaks of rain. In the north, though, it may turn drier and brighter, a bit brighter in the afternoon, but in the south, the rain will pep up during the afternoon. Some wet weather, some heavy rain for the rush hour drive home. Temperatures above average again, with brisk and gusty winds from the south on western coasts. Now, looking ahead to Wednesday, it remains unsettled, low pressure to the southwest of the UK, maintaining this flow of southerly winds. So on Wednesday, further outbreaks of rain spreading northward, some of it heavy, but it should ease off a bit in the afternoon. Temperatures up to 17 degrees in Aberystwyth on Wednesday, with a south to southeasterly breeze. Bonfire night does look drier and mild, a bit breezy in places, and the outlook remains unsettled. More rain and showers on the way, but some drier, brighter spells as well. Nick, back to you.
OK, get the brollies out, Derek. Thank you very much. That's Wales Today. Thanks for watching tonight. I'll be back after the 10 o'clock news. Hope you can join me then. Until then, have a good evening.